Hello, good evening, everyone. and Welcome to our career development webinar again. And my name is Segun Bash. So this week, we're going to be taking it up a little further, and we're going to be discussing about how you can transition into a career in human resource management rather. So a lot of people that I mentor that are on my support community, some of them are young professionals, and some of them had asked the question of, they're interested in HR, they don't know how to start. So I decided to bring one of my bones, let me use that word, one of my senior colleagues that, has experience in human resource management and is also a learning and development specialist. So I'll give you a big background about who he is and why he's an expert in this field. So he has prepared something short for us to kind of like guide us through what it is to start a career in HR and the various type of human resource management specializations that we have. So the reason why I'm doing this is because I want this to be like a sort of reference to anyone that is interested in this field, and the video is being recorded so that those that miss the session can actually still get the value. So without further delay, let me talk a little bit about my guest. So my guest is someone that I've known for a very, very long time. We went to the same university actually. His name is Oluwadare Akinwale, and currently he is the head of the learning academy in Leadway Insurance, and he has a lot of years of experience in human resource management, where he manages when he has done a lot of jobs as a human resource partner, and his own specialization is in learning and development because in HR there are different sections. There needs to be a section that is specialized for training and things like that. So that's the area that he specializes in. So I've known him someone that that has experience in diverse fields, even majorly starting off his career in the banking sector. You know, he has also moved from the banking sector into various other private institutions. So when I wanted to have this conversation, I just knew that okay, he will be the best person to kind of like do justice to this topic and give us all the insights that we need. So without further delay, I would like to give the floor to uh, Oludare Akinwale so that he can share with us what you have today and our audience can get a rich understanding of how to move into human resource management. Thank you so much. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Segun. I suppose that was quite an introduction, right? You
Yeah.
set the expectation very high. Uh, I hope I deliver well. All right. Okay, good evening, everybody. Sorry, I'm just still trying to set up myself. It's been a while. I've used Google Meets. Okay, can you see my face?
Yes, we can, but I think it's a bit,
It's a bit, it's a bit dark.
no, not just dark. It's not like my own, which is it's kind of upside down. So how are you placing your
Oh,
camera?
oh, I see. Oh,
Yes, yes, yes. It's better now. Yes.
all right.
Excellent. Yeah.
All right, good evening, everybody. My
Good
name is
evening.
Gary Akinwale Oluwadare, and yes, it's my pleasure to be here today treating this topic. Okay, so all right. Thank you very much, everybody. I was given this topic, and I thought to myself, what what are we really discussing in this space? What's Shegun looking at here? And what I want to tell is that this particular kind of topic in different variants, expressed in different variants, uh, has been treated in many circles. People always ask, and not just about human resources, but people would ask constantly, oh, how do I transition to this? How do I do this? How do I do that? And right now, there's even a sort of rave around tech, particularly. How do we, you see almost everywhere, transition to tech, use this to build your tech career and so on. And sometimes those things are more of, should I say, hype, or not based on real strong substance when you hear that. And many times you find people who begin, as it were, a journey of that transitioning or a journey into a particular career without really counting the cost or knowing what it entails. So my work here today is for us to have, first of all, a frank conversation around this topic. I'm not going to. It's a conversation you will enjoy, and I'm not going to go technical or talk about things that will be difficult to understand. As I said, it's more of a frank conversation, and I would like us to give it all our attention. All right. So thank you very much. Segun has introduced me. My name is Oluwadare Akinwale. Yes. I put my SPHRI credential here so you guys will know I'm a very important HR person. Okay, but yes, I'm a certified HR professional, senior. What that credential means is senior professional in human resources, international, and it's recognized all over the world. If you see any HR person who bears this credential, it speaks to a lot that they've achieved in terms of their career. Okay, but let's go into this topic, and we would look at a couple of things here because, as I said, you can discuss this in different variants. First of all, we're going to ask certain questions. Okay, when you heard about this topic, what came to your mind? Why are you joining this? Why are you listening to what we are sharing about this? What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? A career in human resources, what does it mean to you? Excuse me, just okay. All right, a career in human resources, what does it mean to you? And then we'll talk about what it means to be an HR professional. And I'm saying this because beyond the beyond what you would think are the technical skills, the daily tasks of an HR professional, what does it look like in the day of an HR professional? And I think that's one of the most important parts of this. Then we'll now start discussing the actual transition, whether you're doing so at early career level, mid-career, and so on, and how you can take advantage of other skills you have at the moment, other skills, other strengths you have to transition into this. Then we'll have a discussion around everything with this, a question and answer and key takeaways around this. So quick one, just to clear any ambiguity. So some of the things, looking at HR, we are considering certain questions, which are certain areas of practice, I should say. Okay, because when people say HR, you probably have certain things that come to your mind. Okay, so, but there are different areas of practice, and I pulled this from the SHRM framework, body of applied skills and knowledge. Okay, you have some key HR bodies, such as the Society for Human Resource Management, SHRM. You have Human Resources Certification Institute, HRCI, where I got my credential from. Those two are based in the US and recognized a lot. You have a lot of Nigerian who take their certifications. You also have the Chartered Institute of Personnel Development in the UK, all right, as well as the one we have here in Nigeria, Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, CIPM. All those bodies are very good. They are very knowledgeable, and the training they provide in terms of certification can really help to ground you in the knowledge of HR. And I'll talk about it later. But here, several domains of practice are identified around people, organization, and the workplace. And you find here HR strategy, talent acquisition, employee engagement and retention, learning and development, total rewards. So when you look at everything here, you find out that if you meet an HR person, more often than not, you find them in one of these areas. Strategy, usually more at leadership and top higher levels, talent acquisition, which is another a fancy expression for recruitment, all right? Employee engagement and retention. Some would say employee relations, just how to keep your employees at work, active and connected to their job. Learning and development, which has to do with training and development, which is where I come in mostly. Total rewards. Basically, so before the name used to be compensation and benefits, and it still is, but total rewards speaking to more than just salaries, more than just compensation and benefits. So you have a number of other things. You have employee and labor relations, technology management, which is a very key area right now, and risk management, corporate social responsibility, and so on. So any HR professional would fall into one of these, and some would manage maybe all of these as well. And one thing you have to realize is that any of these areas could be areas that you could be required to practice in your as an HR professional. So if you had some people, when you ask them what is HR about, they say, is it not to recruit people? There is a lot more to it. It's not to recruit people. It's not to pay our salary. You are the one paying our salary. You hear that often. But there is a lot more to that. And I just shared this to show us the various domains, all right, in HR. So the question is, why are we here? And I would like to, in looking at this question, one of the things I have noticed, because I started my career in HR pretty early, is that there's this bittersweet relationship people have with HR, okay? Some of us who are here have had a very sweet relationship with HR, a great experience, and some have had a very negative experience with HR. If you are here and you've had a very positive relationship with HR, let me see, maybe just send some reaction. Very positive relationship with HR. I believe that goes for everybody. I'm not seeing any reaction. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Who else? Okay, what about negative? Oh, Shinyabola S, really? Who else? Okay. Anyways. Okay, thank you. Well, that's expected. And I say this because HR is one of those professions that if you are there because you want to play Mr. Nice Man, nice guy, you are probably in the wrong profession. Okay? It's in the nature of the job sometimes to, and I put this in quotes, offend people. All right? But there's a lot more to, when you realize what that involves, you understand why. So, and that's why we're asking here that is this job actually for you? Okay? You have to understand what it means to be an HR professional. First of all, before you start talking about, I want to transition. As I said, many people have a big idea. They feel, I'll give you an example. I had a colleague then when I was in the bank. He was working in some core banking operations at the head office department. And he had taken a CIPM certification. He had, he had been working for some years and he wanted to transition to HR. He said he really wanted to do HR. So he was my senior colleague then. And I asked him that, okay, are you really sure you want to come in here? Because I knew how demanding his department was. I knew what we were doing. He said, yes, he wanted to. And by the time he came in, he had to come into some kind of senior role because he was senior. And within a month, every day I see him, I say, bro, how far? He would just shake his head. Like, this is not what I planned for. This is not what I planned for. And I kept asking him, why? What is it? He came in and he was already overwhelmed by the demands of the job, by the several intricacies of things he had to go through. Okay. So there is a lot involved in the work, and I'll go through some of them now. In the course of this presentation, I'll share some tips on how to prepare for entering the HR career at different career stages. So if you're starting at, maybe you're just out of school and you want to join, that's fine. If you're maybe a few years already in your career and you want to join the HR career, that's also good. All right, but we'll share how to get in there at different levels and how you can leverage your skills in there. So let's ask ourselves a couple of questions. Are you genuinely interested in understanding and helping people, okay, navigate their work lives? And it doesn't even stop at work lives. Are you genuinely interested in understanding and helping people? Do you enjoy problem solving, often dealing with complex and sensitive issues? Are you comfortable with ambiguity and change? Are you comfortable with not knowing what is going to happen next? All right, not knowing, what the next 5 years look like, next maybe 6 months look like. You like to have everything well planned. And are you, if things don't go according to plan, does it upset you so much, especially when it's out of your control, right? Those are questions I'm posing to you now that you would need to answer, when you're considering this question of a career in HR. Do you have strong communication and interpersonal skills? Are you resilient and able to handle pressure? And when we talk about pressure, it's not that one people put on their CV, that decoration people have on their CV, ability to work under pressure. Oh no, trust me, when you see pressure, you will, it is, you would know, okay? It's not something you write on a paper, it's something that you do, okay? And you see, it is okay if you don't want pressure, if you don't like pressure, it is okay. You might not be able to escape it, but at least if you have that enough honesty and self-awareness about what kind of pressure you want to be able to go through, it will help you navigate your career well, all right? And then we also ask the question, do you have a strong sense of ethics and fairness, right? This is important. HR cannot navigate without talking about the ethical behavior, because human resources personnel are supposed to be the guardians of ethical behavior. They are supposed to be the models of ethical behavior in an organization. So if you don't have a strong sense of ethical behavior and fairness, an emphasis on the word fairness, because a lot of things you would do as an HR professional will pivot on that. All right. So if you don't have that, then that is not a place for you. And I'm sincere. We can look at these questions again. The first one, are you genuinely interested in understanding and helping people? There are people you hear who say, oh, I'm a people person. Oh, really? You're a people person. The question is, the people who have worked with you, both including your seniors, your peers, your subordinates, what have they said about you? Are you the kind of person that people don't want to work with? All right. And again, in saying that, I don't mean it in a bad way, in a critical way. There are people who would rather sit down and work alone, and they look for certain jobs where they would have as minimal as possible human contact. And that's fine. But if you're going to be in human resources, you are going to work with a wide variety of people. And if that takes something out of you, HR may not be the career for you. I told Segun that I'm going to this presentation is about frank conversations. Okay, so and that's my own style of engaging frank conversations. It will lead us to answer the question ultimately, but it has to be something that we can really relate with. All right, so that's why I'm bringing this. I'm starting with this question. So let's move on. So when we talk about being a genuine people person, so I said what it means to be an HR professional, and I titled this Beyond Technical Skills. And the reason why I say so is this. See, so who was this? Warren Buffett? No, not Warren Buffett. The CEO of Virgin. The CEO of Virgin. I'm trying to remember his name. He said there was a quote attributed to him where he said, "Hire for skills, hire for attitude, train for skills. Hire for attitude, train for skills." And there's something very, very, very interesting in that quote, and that I found very useful. Thank you, Richard Branson. Thank you very much, Yobola. You see, you might have. Let me just give you this simple analogy that most of us can relate with. You know how you have all these tailors right now. Fashion designers are trending because of this latest. They said somebody copied another person. Anyways, you know, you may have a very good tailor. Everybody swears by that tailor. He's very good. He's very good. And then you give the tailor your material and tell him that I'm going for a wedding. In 4 weeks. I'm giving you early. I need this dress. This my should be in 4 weeks. And then 4 weeks come. The very good tailor doesn't deliver your ashwebi, and you have to wear something else for that wedding. That tailor, as good as he is, as skilled and expert as he is, has he helped you meet your own objective for that event? No, he hasn't. He has the skills, quite all right. He has the technical skills in this case, but he did not display the ability, the attitude required to get you what you want. All right. So it's something that, as I said, I found very useful in the course of my career, in the course of dealing with people. And that's why we're saying, let's look beyond technical skills first, because it's not the big issue. It's not the biggest issue here. Let's look beyond that. So first of all, we're talking about being a genuine people person. And in talking about this, it's not just about being, it's not about being nice. It's about having a genuine interest in people. Do you really have a genuine interest in people? Do you understand what it is to show empathy, to walk in other people's shoes? People say it, but when the situation is happening, do you really understand what it is? Okay? People come with you. In HR, you would always find people come with you with myriads of problems. And it's easy to quote the policy at them. Oh, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. But if you don't just see it as a problem, as a policy issue to be dealt with. Sometimes you have to understand the root cause. You have to understand how it really pinches them. All right. You have somebody who is, learning and development, for example. So many times you have people who come to you, they're interested in training. They're interested in something, building their career. And sometimes they've gotten wrong information about the training and so on. And you can see that the main concern they have is maybe their career is stalling and so on. If you do not engage with them about why they really want that training, you might just end up giving them something that is just off the shelf, but doesn't really address their real issues. So when you engage them well and find out what really do you want, how is this going to be helpful to you? And I've had a lot of people in the course of my career that I have had these conversations with, and they will tell you that, oh, that conversation that I had with them helped them to move. People have wanted to move maybe into other roles. Some have wanted to resign at some point. And in my conversations with them, I've helped them understand what decision they needed to take at that point in time. If you do not have a genuine concern for people, you will not offer that kind of service to people that would help them build their career. Trust me. Human resources is about people. People sometimes in HR forums you find people who talk about let's focus on the human in human resources. Some people focus more on everything but the human. It's another job. To be a really successful HR professional, you have to look at the human resources, the human in the human resources. Be a genuine people person. Show that you actually care. Show empathy. Think about when someone comes to you with a problem, don't be quick to quote the policy at them. Think about the issue and try to understand if I were in this person's shoes, how would I feel? All right. Next is be a crisis manager. Remember I talked about are you able to handle pressure? Do you have resilience and all of that? CM, if you're in HR and you feel that working, you would have a slow and steady, cool and calm day. I'm sorry to break the news to you, no. Except maybe you are in something like maybe some roles that it just require routine and rote every day. And even at that, say for example, maybe you're in you're in payroll management, for example, and your job is just to work on all the payrolls every day. You take certain inputs and you update your data or you update employee records. So you just take, even when that is your role, there are times when you get something impromptu, something unconventional. And many times you would often be co-opted from what is your key role into some other role within the larger team to help. So if you're a human resources person, you will be a crisis manager. You'll find out that you would have issues, some that you have to deal with on a steady basis. It requires you to have a calm, methodical, and decisive approach to work. Okay, if you are someone who is easily rattled by changes and things that happen, sorry, you may not find this very easy. Like that, my colleague I talked about, he joined us at a period when we had a lot of things going on. We had a program, a bank-wide program the next day, and we discovered all of a sudden that there had been a mix-up with the different centers. Over 40 centers were doing a training on the same day, and there was a mix-up of logistics, and we had to sort it out that evening. And my guy just kept shaking his head that what is this? He found out that he had to come to work early in the morning almost every day to take on some issue from the night before. And he told me point blank that, no, I cannot do this. I cannot do this. And eventually, he got reassigned to another place outside Lagos for branch operations where he was more comfortable with. But before, he said he wanted HR. I want to do HR. But when he got to HR and he joined HR in a crisis situation, he couldn't cope. And this is the truth. And as I said, we're having frank conversations here. You will think about it. For example, I've been in a situation where we in a particular branch of the bank, we had 4 people who resigned on the same day, and the branch was filled with customers, front office persons who resigned on the same day. And I remember talking to my colleague in workforce management, and she said, Larry, right now I cannot talk. This is what has happened. And I had to, see whatever load I could even take off from her to handle that situation. Sometimes you might have an issue that involves a compliance police investigation. If you're in a heavily regulated industry like financial services, you would have you would have impromptu, unplanned clashes with regulators, demands from regulators that upset everything you're doing. And while you're attending to that, you have other demands too that require urgent attention. So the question is, are you that kind of person that can handle that kind of thing? So we had the pandemic in 2020. All right, we had the associated issues that came with it. And I remember then just before the pandemic started, I had a conversation with my boss around the trainings we were doing for our entry-level people back then in insurance. And he was concerned about the costs and everything. So I told him, I said, no problem. I'm going to work out a hybrid program that will not incur so much costs in terms of all the daily logistics they have to incur during the training, and they will still get value for it. So I redesigned the program to be into a hybrid situation. You see, less than a month after, the lockdown was called, and one of the first things they told us is that nothing is going to change. Everything we are doing, we must continue doing our work the way we are doing. It was easy for me to transition, into that hybrid program because I had made preparation for that before now. All right. And that's the thing. You have to be in crisis mode. You have to have that sense that, things can happen very fast, but you should be able to respond to it. All right. So be the crisis manager. Another thing I will say here, which can sound very interesting or controversial, if you will, be a jack of all trades and master of all. I know you must have been waiting to be a master of none. No, be a jack of all trades. A cardinal rule in HR practice is know your business, know the business. A lot of people come into HR, especially when you come into HR at entry level. You come into HR and you're an HR analyst and all you know is recruitment, talent management, this and that. You can get away with that, let's say, for 1 year. But after that, you need to know more. If you're in a manufacturing company, for example, and you're tasked with managing factory workers, you need to know what goes into their critical roles, the kind of equipment they handle, who are the key people that handle those equipment, why is it necessary to have this person always on call, why the category of staff that are critical because of the work they handle. If you do not know the business, you will make decisions that will flop things. And let me tell you what happens in those cases. You just find out that the management will bring somebody who probably who doesn't know HR from anywhere, and they tell him to head HR, to head your team. Why? Because you have people who are doing work and they don't have a sense of the business. So you're in HR, in banking, for example, or in some financial services, and you don't understand how to read and interpret financial statements, even at a basic level. You are going to have problems down the road. Your regulators are coming up with new changes in the business and you're not thinking about it. I joined the banking when we started, when the cashless initiative began. And everybody had to understand what that meant. And for us in HR, it involved a lot of strategic staff decision, a lot of specific training programs, a lot of adjustments to the business model across different areas. We had pilot locations where certain operations were supposed to begin, and we had other places that will follow suit. If we did not understand the magnitude of those things, it would have been difficult for us to respond. As an HR person, let me put it this way, a human resources person is, in fact, or I should say particularly, a business person, more of a business person than just a technical person. Maybe you're in a small domain. No, you are more of a business person because that is one of the few functions that that feeds every aspect of the business. Human resources. It feeds finance, it feeds operations, it feeds sales, it feeds everything. So you have to know the business. It's a cardinal rule. You would not be respected by the owners of the business if you don't understand your business. If you don't understand what it is that you're doing. If you are managing people in IT, you have to understand, you may not be the IT person, but you have to understand certain things about what they do. When they talk about server, when they talk about, we're running an update, about all those things, the critical people that have to do the work. When if they tell you want to hire for this role, you don't just take it to client and sinker. what does the job description say? What are the critical competencies required for that job? And why they need to be there? You understand why a certain team would need 4 people, the job that all those 4 people have to do, because you know the business, you know what it is they do. So when I say know the business overall of the company and the specific teams, departments that you're responsible for. All right.
Of course.
So
yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to let you know we spent over 30 minutes, and I want us to be able to give a participant to ask questions, so that if you can just maybe rush through the remaining slides.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I will do that. Okay. So this helps you build credibility down the road when you are, and I say this also from a very personal experience. By the time I was leaving the bank, there was hardly any role you could mention to me that I did not have an understanding of what they did. And I'm still that I could understand, I could relate with them. I would have people call me from different parts of the bank with issues that they needed to address. And I was able to talk about it because I understood the business. Okay. And sometimes you're as an HR professional, you will get questions from people outside. I work in insurance currently, and many times I get inquiries about insurance. Many of the people I talk to don't even know that, maybe I'm not a salesperson or an operations person, because I give them the answer, or at least I lead them in the right direction. So you have to be that person who knows the business and can represent your business at least to a certain level. All right. So having said all of this, and as I said, we're having frank conversations, and I hope I've not scared anybody away. Okay, because as I said, what the face of HR looks like, the work in HR looks like, it may not be the same thing that everybody expects. Okay, but now that you know what it is, that you need to be a people person. If you're really not, a lot of people make a lot of noise about, I'm an introvert. Yes, you can be an introvert and still be a people person. All right. But if you feel that people suck energy from me, I don't want to deal with people, do you still want to transition to HR? Do you want to deal with crisis every day? Does the prospect of an HR career still excite you? So I'll get into some quick areas now in terms of actually transitioning. And these are things I have seen work, okay? These are things I have seen work. These are also the kinds of advice I've given to people over time. And that's why I'm sharing it. It's not exhaustive, but these are things that I'm sharing because I've seen it work over time. So if you're just starting out, it's a very good opportunity. You want to get into HR. You might not have studied industrial relations or human resources. It's not a problem. HR accepts from multidisciplinary fields. So you could look at roles like HR analyst or assistant, trainee, intern, HR admin officer. Many times you see roles, HR admin officer, learning administrator, recruitment coordinator. Those are typical entry-level roles you would find. And you have to, the thing about this is that even though it's entry-level, you have to still show at some level some of these skills in your resume. The reason is this: HR is one of those professions where you really hit the ground running. Forgive me for the use of that cliche. But the moment you start, you're already doing the work. They want you to start doing the work immediately. So you have to learn on the go, and whatever advantage you've had before would really help. Okay. So if you've done any projects, coursework, roles, you've volunteered, and I really suggest volunteer a lot. Maybe you have some NGO. Maybe your friend has an NGO. They are recruiting people. They are training people. Volunteer for it. Volunteer for it. If you can get a letter of recommendation from them about the work you've done, get it. When I started my job in HR, the value proposition I gave during my interview, and the interesting thing was I wasn't even looking at HR. But when the GM of HR was interviewing me, and she asked me, "What's your career goal?" My colleagues in the bank always laugh at this story because there was a fiasco that came out of it later. Anyways, so she asked me, "What's your career goal?" And I said, "I'm interested in something in research," because I was applying. I was in the bank then, and I knew there was the main the major roles there were operations and sales. I didn't want to do operations because I didn't want to. We had been told that if you go into operations, you get bored. And then sales, I didn't want to start out with that. So I just said something in research and so on. And she started quizzing me more. And I just told her that she asked me, what have I been doing? I told her, oh, I used to write for an online magazine. And that work that I told her that I did, coupled with my interest, was what got me a place in the learning and development team, because she had been looking for somebody in that team. And because I could show what I had done before, that was what got me there, because there's a part of the L&D work that is heavily intellectual and requires you to be able to piece ideas together and write and do things like that. And that was what helped me at that time. And I've seen a lot of people who have been, because of certain skills they have, it helps them. All right. And if you are, you can also, I told you, you can volunteer, you can seek internships. There are many NGOs, many companies there looking for people to do internships. You can take courses with certifications. I can recommend the CIPM, HRCI, SHRM programs, because they teach you a lot. You actually get to learn a lot about what HR entails, but it shows a commitment to the profession, and a recruiter who sees that is likely to give you more consideration because of that. If you're involved in any entrepreneurial activity, you're a business person, that is a very good selling point for you to hop into HR, because it shows that you can manage resources, you have solid organizational skills, and you can do a lot of tasks that require independent thinking. All right, good. So early career, when I talk about early career, maybe people who are like maybe 3 years, 5 years into their career, thereabouts, early career, 1 to 3 years, more like, and you've been doing some work before. If you're working in a company, you can volunteer for certain HR-related projects. Maybe they are doing a mass recruitment and you can volunteer to be a coordinator, you can volunteer to help with training and so on. While you're in the company, take a course, take certifications, so that when internal vacancies come in, you can apply for them. All right? You can apply for them. Knowing the person there and expressing your interest is not enough. You have to get prepared. And in your mind, you need to be prepared for a reset, okay? That it's not going to be necessarily easy. And you may even be earning less. You may enter a junior role when you're transitioning than what you were in before. If that is not something you want to consider, then it might be difficult for you to transition to certain opportunities when they come. And network and seek guidance. And this applies to when you're in mid-career as well. Certifications, network at a senior level, consulting, if you've had some experience in that, that helps as well, okay? Leverage leadership and strategic experience. If you've managed teams, you've managed budgets, complex projects, these are areas that would be of use in an HR team. And I would also say, in addition to this, consult a career professional, especially when you're at these levels and you want to transition. Consult a career professional who can help you articulate all these things you've done within the HR context and help you pitch yourself for that role. I had a boss when I was in the bank. She was in customer service. That was the role she joined in. Then she became head of operations in the bank. Then we brought her in as one of our subject matter experts. She used to train for us on customer service. After a while, we brought her into the department, into learning and development. We had a team. And from then on, she took a certification and later even transitioned to technology. But she was able to make that move because she was able to leverage aspects of her experience. If you're an head of operations in a bank, you can do HR. She was able to leverage all those experiences she had. She had participated in training in a number of HR volunteer roles. And when an opportunity came in, we were able to pull her in and she was able to make an easy transitioning. All right. And she also leveraged all of that when she wanted to move into technology. All right. So I would also say this. If you want to certain job areas, I'll soon conclude in a few minutes. Certain job areas help you to pivot easily because, and I'll say HR is constantly evolving beyond the talent acquisition, strategy, recruitment. the HR analytics, HR technology, okay? What they call that thing? That has to do with employee assistance programs. Yes, those are areas that are developing a lot. And with the advent of more newer technology and a lot of things, we would not have constantly have the traditional roles you've had before. So if you have a little savvy for maybe data science, IT automation, you may find yourself in a role, maybe as an HR project manager. If the company is doing some HR, some IT project within HR, maybe you're transitioning to a new HRIS system, or you're part of the HR team in the major, core banking enterprise or core enterprise system. You can function here. In the past 2-3 years of my more like 4-5 years of my career, I've always held a dominant role related to HR technology, whether it's a learning management system. I've onboarded with the IT team. Sometimes I've even had to teach the IT team certain things about the learning management system before they could implement it. HR technology, I work with a sales team, and I do a lot of technology adoption support for them. Okay, so I do a lot of data analytics within HR, because nobody understands your data more than you. You can bring a data analyst from outside. He would still have to consult you on how to do that job. So if you have maybe some skills in data analysis, it could help you transition into HR, especially in a role where they need people like that. If you're a good person in finance, if you have good skills in finance and so on, you could function well in areas like compensation and benefits, compliance and audit, areas that require financial input a lot from HR. All right. So project management, UI UX design, because as much as we talk about user experience when it comes to IT, the truth is user experience applies also to human resources. In human resources, we're talking about employee experience, people experience. How does it make you feel? Your use of this application we just deployed, does it simplify the process? Does it make it better? A UI UX designer who has had some experience, who understands the fundamentals of how the experience appeals to people who function well here. Educators, psychologists, because there are a lot of areas that require, everybody talks about mental health these days. If you're a trained professional in that area, you will find a domain in HR. So having said all of this, as I said, when you're talking about all of this, still talk to a professional, a career counselor, who can help you tailor all these your skills, all these your specialized areas, and position you for a role in it. If you go through LinkedIn and Indeed and a lot of these job domains, you will see certain roles. You see certain roles that speak particularly to this. You see something like sometimes learning technologies. I remember once I did an interview for a learning technologist role, and the only reason why I didn't get that job was because I couldn't code. But I knew the application they were using. I could work on it from start to finish, but it required you to be able to code in PHP, which I did not know at that time. The person who got the job was more of an IT person than an HR person, and now she goes about as an LMS solution provider. You understand? So she was able to use her knowledge of IT to get the job and has transitioned into being a full HR professional. So I would just do a quick recap here. HR is challenging but rewarding career with diverse opportunities. I'll be remiss if I did not tell you that HR is challenging. No, it is. However, that is not the only thing to it. It is rewarding. It has lots of opportunity. You require genuine people skills. You need to like people to work in HR. Remember that. Crisis management, strong business acumen. There are pathways to HR at almost every career level. And even if you have special skills in special areas, you can leverage it into an HR domain. So on this note, I will stop. Thank you very much. I hope
Wow, wow.
I've helped somebody here. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dari. Thank you so much. You really broke it down. You let us, giving us insight into, what HR is really about. And I like the perspective that you shared that, you still need to talk to a career coach. And that's where I come in. Okay, because I'm a career coach, I kind of like help people to walk through some of these, experiences that they have, because a lot of people have these experiences, but they don't know how these experiences are transferable. You understand? Because,
Yeah,
and I think you were able to really break that down to let us know that, okay, the different areas and the different skills that you have, how they are actually transferable to the HR profession. And if someone, for example, is going for an HR intern or an entry level position, and maybe perhaps has worked in customer service, has worked in administration, has worked in accounting, or maybe technology. So from the points that you have given now, the person can use that as a transferable skill. But the truth is that there is only maybe a career coach that can kind of like help you identify those areas and know how you can translate them into actual, things that you could say in an interview and convince, the person interviewing that you're a good fit. So I think that was something good, that I picked out of this conversation.